Good morning. It is Jillian. So I know I look like I just like woke up. So I went to bed like yesterday. I made a really cool meal and I was just kind of like in my mode, doing my thing. And then I go to bed at 6 o'clock in the evening because my husband goes to bed early and get up at 3 to make sure the coffee pot's turned on because the stupid timer doesn't work. So then I'm up at 3 or 4 and then I go to bed for a few hours. And so that's kind of my life right now, which is good because it makes me more productive. Not that I wasn't productive before, but I've always been pretty productive. But having my husband home every day and having some kind of basis point of a structure is a good thing. Though I do create my own structure. My dog forces me to. But the thing with duality, see, I started writing my third book, my fourth book, um, like way back in like February, March, April, and I was like in the emotions of all of the riots and the BLM and the Antifa and the Patriots, and so I was coming from that direction, and I'm like, you know what, I'll still be in my book, but I really have to now that my head's more clear. I've been on the protocol for 4 years. I've been on the white salt since February, so it really accelerated my healing process. I can really pinpoint now the duality of what it is that we're dealing with, to where I can say it in such a clear way where I can make you guys get it. Okay? So we know that black and white, good, bad, Democrat versus Republican, life versus death, all these dualities. But the duality between longevity or life and death it can be broken down at a biochemical level. And so you're seeing how death is being promoted through the mainstream media, which is all of the riots, all of the different killings, and then also the antibodies in the vaccines, as well as the antibodies in the therapeutics, antibodies in everything that supports the antibodies, the antibiotics, the holistic allopathic remedies, the protocols, the detoxes, the cannabis, the herbs, like all the different hell, I don't know, mucus suppressing type of stuff. And so antibodies is like the death promotion and through the mainstream media, but no one talks about prostaglandins. And I said yesterday that, you know what, I've been leading with death a lot, focusing on antibodies because I want you to get the antibodies is what causes and is what creates the death trajectory when you are actually supporting and sustaining and bringing up antibodies. So instead of me coming from that point of view, why not you guys understand what prostaglandins are? Okay, prostaglandins has originated from the male, okay? And then everybody, females and males and binaries and whoever, any human has prostaglandins, and it's in their fatty acids, okay? And so prostaglandins are not very well known because they try to inhibit. That's the secret that Rockefeller medicine does not tell you guys, is that prostaglandins is the key to your longevity. But that also has to deal with pain, okay? And that's why you guys don't want to know about prostaglandins, because you don't want to know about pain. So when I said here, the left side of your immune systems is, and then the Jilly juice expresses your prostaglandins, and this is why it gets suppressed through the allopathic holistic industry. When Rockefeller medicine is trying to control your lifespan, they control the level of healing, which is through your prostaglandins. This is a healing hormone within your immune system that gives you the sensation of life, also known as pain, when you're at a deficit. And when you're in chronic pain and you have a lot of overproduction, as they say, of prostaglandins, it's because you are not giving your body what it needs, and it's constantly being attacked by the antibodies. See, that's what you're dealing with as far as the duality within your body, the good versus evil in your body. Is the evil is the antibodies, and then the good is the prostaglandins. And that's why the yin and yang, where it shows that little S sign, and there's like a white tiny little circle on the black side and the black tiny little circle on the white side, they know you need a little bit of each. But when you have too much of a death, then you're going to die. When you have so much life with a little bit of death, like a little bit of antibodies, then you're going to live. But that's the whole thing, is that you guys have so many antibodies in your body at your death that there's no way the prostaglandins are able to regenerate, because first of all, you have leaky gut. So you have wasted energy, which is basically the second law of thermodynamics. And you have leaky gut, and you're not regenerating cells at the micro level because you're not taking in the energy and taking in the nutrients and sustaining them on a continuous basis. You're losing more energy than you are actually absorbing and regenerating. And that is Rockefeller medicine. And so they call it a hormone. Prostaglandins are hormones, but they're also they are the duality of your immune system. It never gets mentioned when it comes to immunotherapy, right? Because immunotherapy is about expressing your antibodies, expressing and sustaining and bringing up antibodies, taking antibiotics, okay? And so you wonder why it is when you guys are getting older and you're on your cannabis and you're on your chemotherapy and you're on your radiation and you're doing all these different types of immune suppressions, you're suppressing actually the prostaglandins. So people say, oh yeah, they have a suppressed immune system, they can't get a vaccine. Well, why not? Because they have a suppressed prostaglandins. They have the systems in their body were programmed by the prostaglandin inhibitors to suppress the life side of their body. So that's why some people are not candidates for vaccines, because those antibodies would kill them because they don't have enough prostaglandins to offset the antibodies. See, now it's becoming more clear once I got away from all the emotions, the politics, the soap opera between politics, religion, and science, the soap opera around all the bullshit out there, whether it's communism, socialism, whatever, fascism, I don't care. All the isms out there they serve to distract you. What you now have to know is that there's two things you need to understand. Prostaglandins is the life side of your immune system, and then the antibodies and the antigen are the death side of your immune system. And so this is what I need to lead with in my book, but I'm going to have on there to draw you guys in because I got to have some kind of story to tell. And the surface marker antigen of the beast is really like the satanic side of our world, the death side. Okay? And so we are one big, huge, giant experiment. And I realize that. We all are a bunch of lab rats. Some of you don't even know you're lab rats. You think this is just what life is. Once you figure out that you're a fucking lab rat, then everything becomes so much clearer, and it's kind of weird. It's like you almost it's like being first. It's like when a child becomes self-aware, when a child becomes when they feel like they know who they are, they're expressing their personality. That's kind of like when you actually wake up from this fantasy that you think this is what life is. No, you're a one big lab experiment. You are. And so, at some point you must evolve, but you have to feel pain to evolve. And so that's the things so I'm going to have to come from in my next book from the allegory, the surface marker antigen of the beast, which is basically the surface marker of the beast, which is your blood type, which is the Rh factor, which is all the antibodies swimming around in your blood, that surface marker protein that is from the programmed immune system, the antigens that are programmed in your immune system to go do a search and destroy any type of evolution. Then the antibodies get created and they basically play pinball with all of your organs. And you wonder why you have hormonal imbalances. You wonder why you have chronic cancer disease, chronic illness, chronic pain, autoimmunity, and you wonder why you're depressed, you wonder why you're aging and degrading, and that's because the amount of antibodies that you're holding within your body and you're not releasing. Okay? And so the whole thing with the Jillyly juice is to be like, hey, we want to express your prostaglandins, release the excess antibodies, because yes, antibodies are there for a reason. It's not like you're not supposed to have them. But antibodies are only there when you go through an evolution, and the old world needs to be destroyed. Like autophagy helps bring out and release the excess, along with the antibodies that help break down and destroy things that don't belong there, foreign invaders that are too much. But when you have too many foreign invaders, too many antibodies, guess what? You have an imbalance. And that's the thing, is that everything has to do with balance. But when you have too many antibodies over prostaglandins, then guess what? That's your expiration date. And that's where the telomeres. Telomeres is at the little the capsids at the ends of your DNA chromosomes that then give it gives the signals, the RNA, to then go and replicate. When you have a stagnancy, when you have a malfunction and you're not regenerating at the micro level, then those telomeres shorten because they're not prolonging, they're not elongating, they're not regenerating faster than they are degrading. Okay, so that's how you can tell what, I don't say someone's age, but you can tell when, you can see, you can juxtaposition two people and their telomeres, you'll know who will live longer than the other person. Oh, Christina Ganji, thank you. I respect you so much, Jillian. You are so smart and driven. I've been following you for years, and I believe in you so much. Keep going, never back down. Hell yeah, because I already see it in my body. The telomeres, it tells you how long your life is going to be, but you can't really put an age on there because age is relative to the current society. Because you can have two people that are 30 years old, and one will have a longer telomere than the other because it's based upon their predispositions. See, age is nothing but a number, but ages need to be used in our man-made laws so that way we know who it is that we can have a relationship with and not violate that law. But those laws change all the time, as you guys are seeing, which some of you are rebelling against, and I completely understand. Okay, but age is really nothing but a number. But really, it's maturity level. And so I'm thinking that those crazy satanic people that are trying to lower the age of consent, they're looking at telomeres and they're looking at maturity level. They're looking at telomere maturity level and all that, but they're not looking at whether or not the person is cognitively aware to make those kind of decisions. Okay? But it's kind of a trippy watching Hollywood where you have these kids that are growing up in Hollywood where they're far more mature than the average kid. I mean, I knew a guy from Iran when I was in Diablo Valley College, and he was far more mature than I was because in Iran, they treat their boys and they treat their kids as if they were little adults. So he was far more mature in his mind and probably his body too than I was back in, when I was back in the 90s, in my 20s. So it's like, age doesn't matter number, but it does give us some kind of like foundation of laws to go by when it comes to age of consent or when it comes to drinking and smoking and all that stuff. But really, your telomeres tells you how mature you're going to be and also when you're going to pass away. And those telomeres can be grown with the prostaglandins and regenerated, or they can be destroyed with the antibodies. Okay? And so listen to the news, listen to CNN, listen to Fox, listen to, watch all of the different, or look at all the different articles where they're saying, oh yeah, we have an antibody detecting, antibody test kit. We are trying to promote antibodies. Oh, the commercials. Oh, it's all about science and antibodies. Antibodies this, antibodies that. You see death is being paraded in front of you before your very eyes on a daily basis. So you become desensitized to it, and then you adopt it, and then you think it's normal. And that's how they're able to get you guys to think that death is okay, to basically, autophagize yourself or, apepticize yourself. That's basically what our society is. It's basically a mass apeptosis. Okay? And some of us have seen beyond that and have been ridiculed because of the fact that we're seeing beyond that. But that's science. That is factual science. The two dualities, life and death. Prostaglandins is life and antibodies is death. And then you know that all the different painkillers, all the different antibiotics, all the different detoxes in the holistic world, the Rife machines, all the bioenergetics, all the herbs, the cannabis, the chemotherapy, even all the different foods that people use to manage their cancer and chronic illness. It's all about the supporting or suppressing the prostaglandins or bringing up antibodies. Okay? So that's the thing is so hard to get through to a lot of you because you think that your cannabis is healing. You think, because you anesthetize yourself, you don't feel pain, you think you heal that fast. I'm sorry, but when you take away pain with a painkiller because you deaden that part of your body and you think it's healing, no, that actually is a death, a systematic death. And because you're still alive, because you're vital organs, you see people that have had, organs taken out, that are missing limbs, that have been systematically having their systems shut down and organs, yeah, but they're still walking. Yeah, you could be the walking dead. You could be one of those that have like 50% of your systems shut down. Like, hey, look at Hawking. He's paraplegic. Quadriplegic. He can't even do anything but speak through his mouth, and his brain and his mouth are the only things that are working besides his whatever, well, yeah, the only thing that is voluntarily working. Everything else has to be supported by a machine when it comes to Stephen Hawking. But they utilized his brain because everywhere else was deadened. And so his brain and his mouth, or his brain, not even his mouth, his brain. So he had to actually speak through something, through a vocal cord, where he couldn't even really say anything. It was through a machine. Okay? So we know that you can live when you have basically everything shut down. But is that the kind of life you want to live? And then it's a very shortened lifespan. That's basically lab rats. Those are people who are paraplegic, quadriplegic, that were born that way. We're lab rats. Sorry, but somebody has to tell you guys that all of your different diversity, you may have to chalk it up as you were a victim of somebody's mad scientist type of stuff. And so I could say that, you know what, if you want to know what it's like to feel whole, you have to feel the pain. Some of you won't be able to handle the healing process. Some of you won't be able to handle the bringing up the prostaglandins, because that's what's been suppressed for so many years with all your painkillers. All your painkillers, every single medicine, every single whatever is a prostaglandin inhibitor. And some of them are very directed. They go direct to specific systems like your endocrine system that deals with your insulin or sugar levels. Some of them deal with your serotonin levels. That's why they say that these side effects when you take these drugs is that you could have, depression. You could have bleeding in places that you didn't even think of or whatever. I mean, you can listen to all the different, drug commercials and they tell you the side effects and stuff. Okay, and that's because all those antibodies are attacking you, and they're programmed bioengineered monoclonal antibodies. And then in the vaccines, it's a DNA monoclonal antibody where they actually bind to your DNA and they program your DNA to create antibodies. It's like programming antigen to then go and induce antibodies. So they program your B cells to then trigger the foot soldiers, which are your T cells. That's what's so scary about biotech, is the fact that they are creating bioengineered people. CRISPR kids, you've heard of that, right? So finally, I've gotten rid of all the noise of everything. I've stopped coming from the death process and having you understand that prostaglandins are the things that you need to bring up. And that is what's in the Jilly juice. That's why everyone hates me for the salt, because salt brings up life. Salt brings up pain. Salt brings up the healing process, the right healing process. Okay? And so that's why I can never tell you how much to take as far as Jilly juice. I can never tell you when your issues are going to be resolved, because you have to be the one to know what you can handle as far as your healing process. And if you are a paraplegic where you can't do anything but think, like a Stephen Hawking, that whole cell regeneration would be so painful, he wouldn't be able to handle it. He would be only good for whatever he was good for, which is the astrophysics, and that's it. Which is like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And the system utilized him. And he's going to be thrown away as soon as his body shuts down. And that's basically all your guys' outcome. If you don't understand Jilly juice, is that you're being used for whatever capacity you're in, and then you're going to be thrown away, recycled back into the system, back into Earth. And I'm saying, hey, does it have to be that way? But yes, you have to face your demons. You have to face the healing process. You got to bring up and express your prostaglandins. You got to be uncomfortable. But, I think it's worth it in the long run. But yeah, it took me 4 years to get here. 4 freaking years of heartache, of fighting battles, not here, but in other states. I fought battles in other states and won them. I fought battles here and won them. I deal with my own personal government here. I deal with my FBI here. I face it all. Okay, so if I can face the freaking world and my government, who I know is pretty corrupt, okay, then you guys can face the demons that have been given to you. If I can face my own family demons, my own adoption demons, the things that plagued me for many, many years that I've suppressed. If I can face all of that and then some and still stand up and keep swinging and whatever. I don't want to swing anymore. I mean, as far as like fighting these stupid battles of ignorance out there, then you guys can face your personal demons. It's not going to be that, it's difficult. Yes, it's all relative to what what your lifestyle is, what you're around. I get it. And I know it's not easy, especially when you have people in your world that don't agree with salt, that don't agree with Jilly juice, that think that I'm the devil and all that. And That's the cross you're going to have to bear. And so some of you will not be able to do Jilly just because of the support system around you or the lack thereof. And so, but anyways, so there it goes. There's the duality. There's the yin and yang. You know, let me do that. Circle, what is it? So this is like all, oh shit. This is all like, da, 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 da. Let me do that again. Yin and yang. And then, oh my god. I need to have a picture of it. Yin and yang. So there's this, and then this is all. And there's this. Okay, so this is the yin and yang, right? This is the dark side, this is the death side, and here's the little bit of light here. So this is the world that we're living in. We're living in this world right now. This is Rockefeller medicine right here. We're all about death with a little bit of life. This is our life, and then we're really, this is the intention is the death. This is the Jilly juice side, which is all about life, but we know antibodies exist, but antibodies are not taking over. The death does not take over. So this is the world that I want to live in, not this world. This is the as above, so below. Okay? As above, so below. It's all about balance. We know that a little bit has to exist in each world, but it's a matter of how much of what is supposed to exist relative to your expectations. Do you want to live or do you want to fucking die? Okay? So this is so really freaking cool. That this is amazing. So we know these symbols mean something. We just didn't know what it meant or how we could or how we can use them to our benefit. And so prostaglandins, this is the prostaglandins. And when they say in that article that I have on my Facebook that when you have too many prostaglandins, you know, then they have to try to control them. Oh God, when someone has too many prostaglandins because it makes it uncomfortable, it's because you have chronic illness. You have constant antibodies that are attacking you at the micro level that's causing the prostaglandins to keep being triggered. What would happen if you got rid of the excess antibodies? Oh my God, the constant attacks at the micro level would stop. Okay? And then your strong side, your prostaglandins of your immune system would be would overtake the death side, and then you would see the healing happen. Okay? But Rockefeller medicine suppresses your evolution. But, you know, you've been brainwashed your whole fucking life that you can't possibly even think that's a reality. But look, already they're telling you. They're telling you what they're doing. They're telling you they're terraforming. They're doing this. They're doing a depopulation. Hey, Hilly, thank you. They're doing a depopulation. They're telling you everything. Most of you are too brainwashed that you'd be like, whatever, and you won't be able to handle my information, much less deal with whatever's going on out there because it's just too much. Thank you, Amkari, yes. But they're finally telling you in 2020 they're letting the cat out of the bag. And thank God we had 4 years to prime ourselves for this. Thank God that you guys stuck with me in this to see it through. Because I had to go through my own de-evolution, my own evolution and devolving from the death and then evolving into life. And I had many fucking battles. And they're not over. Battles are going to be continuous because the environment's going to become very aggressive. And so not only do you have to be able to handle the last microbiomes that you were in and release them, but now you have to deal with a more aggressive microbiome, political unrest, you know, uncertainty of the future. I mean, my God, what's there to really look forward to when Amazon and Facebook have taken over the freaking world? What are you going to do? Work for Amazon or work for Facebook when there's only a limited amount of jobs? So then, and then of course, so that, yeah, then the arts, you know, you can still do arts, and I'm doing the cooking. You know, I'm finding things to keep my brain going along with me trying to figure out my book. You know, I finally got control over my bills and all that stuff. And I feel like, you know, I did a major paper purge. You know, so we don't know what the future is going to hold. Okay? We don't know what the future is going to hold. But at least now you'll be able to focus on yourself when you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know what's going to happen with the elections. You know that you're going to stay off the battlefield because the battle's within. Don't go take to the streets. Do not. Don't trigger any robotic triggered, you know, RoboCop. Like literally, don't trigger a RoboCop. Okay? There's no point in fighting against Antifa and BLM. They're going to be taken to jail when Trump or whoever is bringing down law and order, because you know that's going to happen. You know martial law is going to happen. You know all this stuff that we've been talking about in the conspiracy world is going to happen. So just accept it. You can't fight against it. It's just changed. Not everyone's going to die, but a lot of people are going to, because they're not going to get it, or they're too entrenched in their religious belief systems that they will I don't know, justify whatever they want to justify as far as the rapture and whatever. But the whole point is to stay alive. Don't die for your country. Don't die for your belief system. Don't die for anything. Live for everything you believe in. Live for your life. Live for your kids. Live for your husband. Live for your wife. Live for your country. Live for Earth. Okay? So yeah, I'm a little bit tired because I'm, like I said, like I'm in a new schedule. My husband's home every day, every night, though he gets up at 3 or 4 in the morning. And, I think a couple of years ago, if he were to do this, I would have been so cranky and so bitchy, and I would be like, oh my God, But now I wake up with him, I turn on the coffee pot, and, and then I take my dog out and whatever, and then I go back to bed for a few hours. And then I knew I need to, I think, like, with my schedule between the time that he comes home from work and when he leaves is when I write my book, or, clean the house or cook some food and whatever. And so I'm really getting a good system going. So, I'm very organized now, much more than I was before. Okay, because my mind is becoming more organized. And obviously you can see that I've narrowed everything down to those two things, prostaglandins versus antibodies. And the death culture and mainstream media is all about antibodies, and they're hiding the prostaglandins. And they don't hide it like too well, because I understand what they are, but they don't talk about prostaglandins in the mainstream media, or Dr. Foss is not even mentioning prostaglandins. You should probably ask your doctor, if you have a doctor, hey, what are prostaglandins? They're like, oh, if you have too much, we have a suppressor here. Take this painkiller, take this. Why the hell would I take something to suppress my healing? If my prostaglandins are being expressed, it's because I got antibodies attacking me. Why the hell would I want to suppress that? Why would I want the antibodies to kill me? And that's really where you need to come from when any doctor is trying to push a vaccine on you, when any doctor is trying to push a therapeutic on you, when any doctor is trying to push any type of prescription drug. Okay? But if you want to express your prostaglandins, you need to back it up with the right constituents. Salt, cabbage, kale, water, and probiotics. Because simply just doing saltwater flushes alone is not going to help you. They did it in the indigenous tribes in Africa, but they still had agent integrating. You know why? Because they had leaky gut. They had imbalances in their gut, so that even though the salt water, expressed their prostaglandins and released the excess in their gut, they had still the wasted energy. They had the second law of thermodynamics where the energy was wasted. So imagine when you actually back salt with the right nutrition to heal and seal you. So that way when you eat food, it actually does something for you on a long-term basis. It's not just being, wasted. And that's the key to J juice. It heals and seals, but you got to get through all the poop in your gut. And so I know how my system is so on point is when I can see the food that I had the night before. I had mushrooms last night, and mushrooms don't really break down. They break down a little bit, but not too much. They still stay in their same form. So I saw mushrooms come out of my poop this morning, and I had mushrooms yesterday in my dish. Okay? So that's how on point my system is. But if you guys, haven't gotten through all of your colon and your intestines with the J juice, and you still have caked on crap, and you still got that poop plug, or you haven't done waterfalls, you have old microbiomes in your body that are creating antibodies, inducing antibodies, and that's what's causing your imbalances in your body, mind, and spirit, your depression, your chronic illness, everything. Okay? You have to release the old microbiomes and constantly be adapting to the current environment. But you guys are adapting to your current environment, but in a very mutated way. And that's why you're seeing the diversity in our population. I already showed you the Human Genome Project, all those proteins that have been bioengineered, the androgens, the different proteins that target specific systems, such as, the reproductive system, such as your neurological system, your cardiovascular system, your integumentary system, all the different systems have a programmed bioengineered monoclonal antibody or protein or hormone that has been manipulated through biotech. Okay? And that is that one database. What is it called? It's called the Gen Age Human Genome. All genes. Okay? And it'll tell you exactly what it's targeting, what it's for. And that right there should tell you that you guys are lab rats. So instead of being a lab rat, it's time to evolve. Instead of devolve and be somebody's lab rat, work for Amazon. Oh, Mike. Hey, guys. I didn't see all your guys' comments here. So there you go. I'm going to put that there. Okay? So it's time for you guys to evolve and get out of the old microbiomes that are causing your destruction of your body, mind, and spirit. And so the only way to do that, is through the J juice, using the white salt because it's the most energetic. It's not being weighed down by all the minerals that are in the pink salt, because that's the holistic way of saying, okay, we want to give you some life, but we want to still suppress it. Fuck the holistic world. Anyone that still does the pink salt doesn't get it, and they won't, because they will plateau with the amount of crap that's going on. Okay? So do the white salt, do the bleached white salt. It might have the anti-caking agent, it might be iodized or non-iodized, whatever, I don't care. I get my salt from this place called Technipure out here in Ohio, and it's $7 for 40 pounds. That's how much. That's the thing with salt, is that it's such a non-hot commodity that it's so cheap. Salt is so cheap because people out there are dying. People out there are dying. People who are afraid to feel will not buy a bunch of salt. They'll buy all the cute little exotic salts with all the heavy metals in it, like the black salt, the purple salt, pink salt. But white salt, the people who are dying are afraid to take white salt. And that's why it's so damn cheap and so easily accessible. Okay? And so, so any of your different water systems, the water companies that sell you water systems, filtration systems, will also have that kind of salt that's in bulk. And you can have that. It'll last you for years. You are worth your weight in salt. You should be afraid when salt becomes very, very expensive. It means that most people are waking up. So be very thankful that no one's buying salt in your area. And I know people in my area, I have very few opportunity people are listening to me. So I'm not really concerned about, not having enough salt for myself. I've bought, a few pounds of salt that's going to last me for a few years. Okay? Because who knows how long this shit's going to last, and I want to be prepared. So if you want to live to see through all this bullshit, live through all of this, these psychological operations that may be happening, there might be, Project Blue Beam, where they're going to have the Messiah come and whatever. People are like, oh my God, the rapture, whatever. They might have an alien invasion, I don't know. I'm just saying that, you just don't put it past the architects of our lab rat society to feed into whatever stories they gave you to study. Whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses, whether it's, I don't know, Mormonism, Christianity, all the different religions. I mean, I can't even, there's so many. That's the Tower of Babel, is the amount of religion and spiritual cults that are out there. And so the architects of our system know how many religions and how many spiritual cults are out there, and they will find a way to speak to all of you. They will find a way to speak to all of you. I just know that I have a biochemistry, there is a microbiome, and there are elements. And then there's manipulations. We live in an intentional universe. We don't live in an organic universe. Everything is intentional. Everything has a purpose. If you took away all of infrastructure and all of our modern conveniences, and we just brave the elements, then we live in an organic society. But no, we live in an intentional universe, an intentional society, and it's all synthetic. But it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that you have to understand chemistry and biochemistry. How do you fight chemistry with chemistry? You understand what it takes to live and what happens when you die. Okay? And that's it. So you can still thrive and live and feel comfortable and feel peaceful in a crazy, intentional, purposeful, synthetic universe. And I'm enjoying it. Okay? And I'm enjoying it. I mean, my husband, he's out there in the community working his job out there, and he's bringing home all the different microbiomes, and I'm going to adapt to it. He's adapting to it. I'm adapting to it. So it's a symbiotic relationship that I have. We're not sequestered far away in the middle of the woods, not around people. Those that want to be off grid and live away from people and say fuck people, whatever, you're then lowering your immunity. You're lowering your tolerance for new microbiomes. Okay? And that's kind of the whole point of this social distancing and this whole COVID is to lower your microbiome, lower your immunity, your ability to adapt and to regenerate. So when you do come in contact with something aggressive, you won't have what it takes to handle it. And so that's why people have passed away, because they didn't have what it took to handle it. They weren't, mixing in with different people. And so, if you do have a very sensitive immune system, introduce yourself to different peoples, whether it's 6 or 10 relative to what the system has told you because of this COVID. Do it. Okay? But some of you don't want to hang with your friends and family because maybe it's a good, I don't know. Maybe you just don't really need to. Maybe you don't feel like you want to. So just go out there and go to a grocery store or go to a hospital. If you want to get acclimated to your community during all this social distancing, go to a hospital and sit in the emergency room. Okay, sit there for like maybe a half hour. Or, they may not let you do that, but find a way to sit in a very public place, in a crowded place, whether it's a grocery store or whatever. Okay? And just get acclimated to your environment. Yeah, you might, if you feel symptoms and your body's trying to evolve. Okay? That's what symptoms are. You try to suppress your symptoms, you're suppressing your prostaglandins, you are shortening your telomeres, you're shortening your lifespan. So, that's my speech for the day. That's my speech for the day. I'm going to have to do that yin and yang sign. You know what? I'm going to do the surface marker Angel of the Beast on the front of the book, and then the back of the book is going to have the yin and yang. That symbol. All right, I'm going to go do my thing. I'm tired because I'm waking. Oh my God. I'm just getting used to this schedule. Getting used to new schedules is not horribly hard, but it's fine. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. And thanks, you guys. Anything else anybody says? Song has been built by the mainstream. Yep, that's true. Kari. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.